I fell asleep on Jesse's couch. Okay. I had this dream. In this dream, it was an all white room. Hello, my beautiful love bugs. Welcome back to my channel, Teona Douglas, Psychic Medium. There's so many places to go with this. I'm constantly on social media talking about anxiety, burnout, as a corporate girly or an executive. Because I was once there and I was once going through all of these just crazy situations in my life with no one to understand what the heck is going on or no one to help me with what's going on. So we're going to backtrack this. For all of you that's new here, I once called myself an intuitive coach, and to some degree, I still am. However, I am changing that title to psychic medium. And so through learning hypnotherapy, I started learning a lot more about myself. Scary and fun. One thing that I learned about myself is that for some reason I don't want to be called a psychic or a medium, even though I am one. And so while going through this training, I had to go through a little bit of dark night of the soul. What does that mean? That means that I had to go through like another awakening, so to speak. And through that awakening gave me so much clarity in how I present to the world and how I want to show up for not only myself, for my clients and my future children. So I'm going to tell you the story of how I learned I had this gift. Now, if you guys want me to tell some other stories, like I had a near-death experience when I was around 5 years old, 4 or 5, and some other things that, were synchronicities to let me know that I have a different gift than other people. Um, Definitely put that down in the comment section or let me know if this is something that you want to hear about. I'm going to start off at the age of 14. When I was 14, I I'm the oldest child. I had an older brother. He was 4 years older than me, and unfortunately, he passed when I was a kid. He was 10, I was 6, and he was always my guardian. You know what I mean? Anyone picked on me in school, he would he'd push him down. He was a great older brother. He was amazing. He was an amazing older brother. Um, but he passed. And then my mom and father had a divorce due to my brother passing. It was very, very difficult for the whole entire family. You know, Caribbean household, oldest child. So I did a lot, to say the least. We had babysitters, we had like babysitters slash nannies, but I ended up doing most of the work. It is what it is. Am I sad about it, bitter about it? No, it's a part of my story. And honestly, I'm grateful for all the things that I've gone through because it's made me this person who I am today. I digress. So when I was 14, unfortunately, I got into a huge fight with my mom. I have a younger brother, and I would braid his hair. I would spend like 3 hours during the on a weekday for school. A little bow wow, little bow wow. You just don't know the way you move so fast across the floor. I mean, I run through my mind like all the time, like dollar signs, zigzags, like that's what I would be doing in my brother's hair. So I was the family braider, and that's probably why I was a licensed hairstylist for 15 years. I digress once again. At the age of 14, I kind of I had enough of being the older sister. I had enough of being the second parent, so to speak, because my dad wasn't around very much, um, and after the divorce. And I remember having a very explosive argument with my mom, to the point where she threatened me and told me to leave. Now, here's the thing. This is how the fight started. The fight started because, um, like I said, my older brother passed, and now I just had my younger brother. And my mom she had this fear of my brother becoming gay, which completely irrational. But I have two other younger sisters, so I get what I understand. So I was a tomboy, so I taught my brother how to play basketball. We would go to school early just so we can play basketball. You know what I mean? Like, I was a very tomboy girl. So, everyone has their fears, irrational, but everyone has their fears. And I remember one day I I came home and I needed to do my science. It was a science experiment and like a science lab, right? He could have literally walked over to the next street and talk to his friend, but he was trying to piss me off at the time, and he was trying to be on the phone or whatever the case is. And you know, being the older sibling, the younger son, no matter what happened, I would always be in trouble, right? Even though I needed the phone at this time in order to do my lab, my science lab. Ugh. I said that to my brother. I'm literally like 14, 15. And I'm just saying anything, just like, get off the phone so I could do this assignment. And my mom heard that and she got so angry. Like, angry. Okay? Angry. Like, I've never saw it until then. I never actually saw my mom that angry. And so she pulled out a knife on me and she's like, don't you ever call your brother gay again. If you keep this up, you need to get out. And at this time, like I said, I was done. I was done being an older sister. I was done being a second parent. I was done helping my mom raise these kids while I have to go to school. I'm literally doing all these things to help you make your life better, and no one's helping me, for the basic thing that I need. I literally punched a hole in the wall. My family will never let me forget it. I punched a hole in the wall. I punched a hole in the wall because she was threatening to kick me out because I called my little brother gay, and I needed to, like, I was just so done with everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so she kicks me out. I literally put everything that I could possibly fit in a garbage bag and I leave. I start couch surfing. My friends, like, if they're like, hey, yeah, you can sleep here, whatever. Like, I literally was couch surfing for at least 3 years, 3 to 4 years. To the point where my mom was just like telling everyone because it looked bad that's this situation happened, right? It looked bad as her being the parent. So she would call my grandmother, she would call my aunt, she would call my uncle, she would call my father, and she's just like, you need to do something. Like, she's not listening to me, or whatever the case is. So I had to forge my mom's signature to finish high school. And my dad wanted to look like the hero, I'm going to take my daughter in and she's going to live with me, and whatever the case is. And I lived with my dad for a little bit, and that's a whole nother story. Comment down below if you want me to tell you that story. I started doing hip hop dancing. Um, I did after school programs. I did any and everything to keep me off the streets and out of jail. Um, a lot of people that I went to school with, went to high school with, are dead or in prison or not really doing much with their life. There are a few that are in this story that are doing amazing things now with their life. I digress. So I'm couch surfing, and I started sleeping with one of my, not sleeping with, but she invited me over to stay with her, one of the girls that I danced with. And she was older than us, you know? So I was like, okay, she was older than us. She had a few kids. So I was like, okay, like, let me just chill on her couch for a little bit, whatever the case is. So we work so close, like my whole entire dance crew, we were so close. No one could say anything to us. No, we had each other's back. We did a dance competition. We opened for Julie Black. Like we were like, yeah, we're gonna be next level. We're gonna like, we were so hyped up. I started with hip hop, and then I learned how to dance to reggae. It wasn't like I grew up in a Caribbean family, so I knew how to dance to reggae, but dancing to reggae at home is different than competing dancing for reggae, right? So I was a really, really good hip hop dancer. And my friend, we're going to call her Tiffany, she was a really good reggae dancer. So like I would teach her hip hop, she would teach me reggae. We were like two peas in a pod. We were best friends. I remember meeting her dad, and her dad was like didn't say much, really cool guy. You know, he flew under the radar. Um, didn't really have a job, if you catch my drift. But her dad was always like, hey, if you need something, let us know. Like, I know someone that, like, her dad was well connected, if on the streets, if you catch my drift. I fell asleep on Jesse's couch. Okay. I had this dream. In this dream, it was an all white room, like all white room, like Neo from the Matrix, like all white room. Okay. And in this white room, there was a white porcelain tub in the middle. Okay. And this lady was in the white tub, and she was like this. So I can see her. I'm walking towards the tub. So I'm seeing the back of her head, and I can see like a little bit of her face, and she's like this, right? And so I slowly start to walk towards the white tub. And all of a sudden, she disappears. And all I can see is ripples of water in the tub. And I'm like, she was literally, there was a person just in this tub. Like, what the heck is going on? And then all of a sudden, all I could hear is, tell her, tell her, tell her, tell her. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like turning around, like, what is going on? I don't understand what is going on right now. Tell her it's not her fault. Tell her it's not her fault. Tell her, Tiffany, tell her it's not her fault. It was me. It was my fault. Tell her it's not her fault. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's like, first she's here, then she's here, then she's there, then she's there, and she's just tell her it's not. I'm like, oh my God. So I woke up, and I'm drenched with sweat. Okay? Drenched with sweat. Okay? On her couch. And I'm like, oh my God. And then Jesse and Keon, two of my hip hop dancers that I used to dance with. Okay. So these are two individuals that have known me now for years. We've been dancing in dance competitions, dancing for years. Okay. Town Center, Community Center. All right. For the people that are from Toronto. Okay. Jesse and Keon come bolting into the living room, and they're like, what's happening? Why are you yelling? What happened? Right? They're both just looking at me, like staring at me, like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm drenched in sweat. Okay. And I'm like, where is she? Where's Tiffany? Like, where is she? And they're like, what? Yep. You guessed it. It's Tiffany knocking on our apartment door, being like, hey, I'm here, like just coming to chill with us. Nothing else. She's just coming to like chill. We're probably gonna do like a dance routine and practice something. I'm like, is that Tiffany? Jesse opens the door and it's Tiffany. And I look Tiffany dead in her face and I'm like, I need you to sit down. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I need you to come here and sit down. So I grabbed her by the arms and I sat her on the couch, which was wet because I was laying there and it was wet. And I sit down and I was like, Tiffany, I had this dream about this white tub, and this lady was in this tub, and she told me to tell you something. And she's like, why are you sweating? I'm like, I'm like, don't worry about that right now. Just like, listen to me. And she's like, okay, I'm listening. Jesse and Keon are just staring at me like, what the hell is wrong with this? Like, I've never seen studs. They used to call me studs. We've never seen studs like this before. What the hell is going on? So I sit Tiffany down and I'm like, listen, this lady, I saw her in a tub. It was all right. I'm literally breaking this down and I'm like, she said it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. Who told you to tell me that? And I'm like, I literally just woke up from the couch. Like, I just woke up. Ask her. I just woke up from the couch. And she's like, that's not funny. Studs, that is not funny. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny. This is what this lady told me. Who is this lady? She pushes me. I'm on the floor. She pushes me. She gets up and she runs out of the apartment. And Jesse looks at me like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is wrong with you? Nothing. I had this dream and this lady was in the dream and she told me to tell Tiffany this. This is the dream. And she just looked at me like, what? And she ran to catch up with Tiffany by the elevators. And they're talking and I can hear them like talking or whatever. And what's his made up name? I had to give him a made up name. Keon. Okay, that's his made up name. Keon was like, Suds, like, what happened? Tell me what happened. And he's like, okay, like, calm down. Tell me what happened. And I'm telling him the story. Wait, why am I telling you the story? This information is not for you. It's for Tiffany. So I go out, I go to try and find Tiffany. I'm thinking they're downstairs, but then I hear like yelling in the stairwell. So I go to the stairwell and she's just bawling. And she's like, that's not funny. Like, Studs, I swear to God, like, she looked like she was gonna fight me. Okay? She was gonna fight me. She was just like, that's not funny. Whoever put you up to this is not funny. I don't think it's not funny at all. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, not funny. And she just keeps crying. And I promise you, I was so scared that day. I was terrified, mortified. I was so terrified that I lied to my mom just to get me to get home. That was the only reason why I moved back in with my mom. I was so terrified. So a few weeks pass. And like I said, Tiffany was my best friend. Anything that happened, I would talk to her. She was literally my best friend. And she sat me down finally and she was like, okay, so the reason why I was freaking out is because the lady that you saw in your dream was my mom. Your mom? And I'm just like, and then when she said that, I was like, Tiffany's never talked about her mom. I've never seen her mom. Her brother never talks about her mom. Her dad's never, like, no one's ever talked about Tiffany's mom before. And I never put two to two together. It's just every time I would bring something up about my mom, she would change the topic. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like an unwritten rule, like, don't talk about Tiffany's mom. But I never understood. So she said, the lady that you saw in your dream was my mom. And I'm like, okay. And she's crying and she's like, we were so close. It makes me want to cry. We were so close. She was my best friend. One day I came home from school and I ran up to the washroom, the bathroom, and I found my mom in the tub. I'm like, you found her in the tub? She's like, yeah, I found her in the tub with ice water. She froze herself to death. And that freaked me out even more. Because I've never met this lady in my whole entire life. I've never spoken about her, nothing. And then all of a sudden, I'm having dreams of dead people. So this is fun. And she's like, I need you to be honest with you. Be honest with me. Did anyone tell you this, like, put you up? Like, she was dead set that someone put me up to it. Dead set. And I'm like, we've been best friends for years now. I sleep over your house. She had a waterbed. She had a really cool waterbed. I slept over your house. Your dad, like, no one put me up to this. And why would I, why? You know? So that was one of the first times that I've had encounters with, dare I say, dead people. Um One of the reasons why I didn't feel that I should tell anybody about my gifts, for one, my family already knew, but we just never talked about it. My mom would just, she made made me terrified to talk about. There's, like I said, there's so many stories. So many. That was just one. That one was the one that terrified me so much that I was like, I never, ever, ever want this gift. I don't want to hurt people. And every time that I have a conversation with someone, we communicate through body language before our words. Like, it would just be really weird and creepy. And then I became an adult and I started working for different people and whatever the case is, and I would always be able to tell who would do what, when they would do it, why they would do it, and I would tell them before it happens. And then they would just play it out. It was kind of like I was directing my own movie around me. It was very, very odd. I remember there are times where I'd be at like hair shows and I would have a panic attack. And I would go to the doctor and the doctor's like, everything's fine. And I'm like, no, everything's not fine. I'm having panic attacks. I can't sleep. I can't eat. No, everything is not fine. Of course, now I know that the reason why I went through all of those things was because of my gifts. And I was able to read and understand people better than they could read or understand themselves. And that terrified me a bit. And it also terrified other people around me because people would start to treat me different. It was like I would constantly try to hide who I really am and what I already know. And it was just the things that I was picking up. It wasn't like I'm purposely trying to read people. It was things that people would just randomly tell me, things that would just pop into my head, and I would say it, and they would look like they saw a ghost. Um, and then the final straw that broke the camel's back as to why I now say proudly that I'm a psychic medium. I moved to Radium, and like I said, I wasn't gone, but I was gone in the sense that I closed my salon, and I went through a really, I don't want to say it was a bad yeah, no, it was a bad breakup. um and I was going through all these things and helping people go through things and realizing that I was helping people around me more than they could ever do for me. Ever. Like ever. And it came to the point where I was trying to make myself so small where no one would be able to see my light. I tried to make myself so small where people would not have to, they would be more comfortable around me, you know? And the more that I tried to dim my light or hide in a corner and be shy, is the more that the universe would penalize me. I felt like it anyway. It wasn't, but I felt like it because I was trying to hide such a huge part of me and who I am and how I am that I was slowly dying inside. And I came to work at the salon in Radium. Went through a breakup. Um, if you guys want me to tell you that story, put it down in the comment section. I might, if there's enough of you. um, I went through this horrible breakup, and I moved, and I got rid of everything. Everything. I got rid of my car, most of my clothes, um, any of the assets that I dissolved everything. And I confide in certain people to help me, and they were they were excited to see me fail. Some people are my friends, which are clearly not my friends. Some people are my family members. And I started to get a little clout on social media, so certain family members would start trying to talk to me, and certain people from my past would try and talk to me. And when I was working 90-hour work weeks, sleeping in my office, when my doctor told me, listen, you need to be on bed rest for 6 months, and I had to dissolve that business. And then I came to Radium, and I had to deal with the same thing, different people. And I'm like, enough is enough. It was about a hypnotherapist, Dr. Wise. He was on Oprah, and he talked about past life regression. And then another book, it's too far for me to get right now. This is the book, The Light Between Us, Laura Lynn Jackson. And so the universe just kept giving me synchronicities to continue to be big, bold, continue to help people in a capacity like no other. And I was tired of explaining to people, how I get my information. I was tired explaining to people how I am, who I am. I was tired of it. And I did a channeled message actually today. Today's Monday, and this will be airing on Wednesday. And in that message, it told me to, and by it, I mean my higher self, told me to just do it already. So that is the story of how I popped my cherry and became a psychic medium. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, who you're with. I've lived in 4 different provinces now. I truly, my experience is like a 60-year-old woman. Okay, the amount of things that I've gone through, and I wouldn't take anything back, because I'm here now and I'm able to help people in a capacity that I've never thought that I could. There are a lot of people that I've met that are afraid to be themselves, afraid to show their true selves because of what other people might think or how other people feel about a life that you're living. You're the one paying your own bills. You're the one paying your own bills. You're the one that has to live this life. And the only way for me to continue to help people in the capacity that I do is by continuing to stand in my truth and help others stand in their truth. Not only that, help others to remember who the hell they are. We are made in the image of you. I know you said God. I know you said God. I was raised in the church. My grandma had a church when I was a kid. She was Christian. And I always remember some things that my grandma used to yell across the room. Like my mom, like my grandma used to yell at my mom to leave me alone. Like I would always be exhibiting these different gifts and talents and multifaceted, and my grandma would yell at my mom to leave me, like, leave her alone. She have talent. Leave her alone. And I was born into this. It's not something that I had to learn how to do. And I don't know, I'm just so grateful for the next chapter of my life. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear some flack about this from my family, which I don't care. None of them pay my bills. Or an ex-boyfriend or an ex-friend. The only people that I'm concerned about for this particular story are the people that were there at the time that witnessed this phenomenon that happened to me. I don't say this to impress anyone. I say this to impress upon you that there's a bigger world out there that we don't know about, that we're just starting to get a better understanding of. Quantum physics, the slit experiment, the science is now catching up to creation, because science studies creation, right? It's all a bunch of theories, right? All a bunch of tested theories through experiments. But one thing is true, that we breathe on a consistent basis, but we don't see the air that we breathe. We have thoughts, and who is the one that's observing those thoughts? We are conscious beings. We are here for a reason. And I'm excited for you guys to see this next chapter with me, because I'm going to invite more people like me and people that are not like me, for us to get a better understanding of where we're at and how we can eliminate anxiety and thrive in emotional stability to move us towards whatever we desire. We're either doing things out of 2 places. Either we're doing things out of love, or we're doing things out of fear. It used to freak me out when people would call me psychic. It would freak me out. And I hope that someone that's listening to this podcast or watching this video, to, if they needed an invite to be themselves, if they needed an invite to be like, hey, I see you, I've been there. And trust me, on the other side is peace, bliss, fulfillment, purpose, an unshakable love of self and love of God. And no one, once you get to that stability, emotional stability, no one can shake you. On that note, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my journey, as well as watching my journey, and some of the beautiful love bugs that I've gotten the privilege to know and help energetically. Thank you, because you've helped me on my journey just as much as I've helped you on your journey. I didn't cry, guys. I didn't cry. I'm so proud of myself. Normally when I talk about things that have happened, especially very interesting things that have happened in my life, I would just be a sobbing mess. But you have to go through things to grow. And what character do you know hasn't gone, like a character in a movie, what character do you know hasn't gone through trials and tribulations in their story, right? That's what makes their story. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to be privileged to tell my story. And I hope that it's a little beacon of light for someone that's listening. And if you are not a love bug, go ahead. This is your chance to subscribe and follow. We talk about everything, well, spirituality, getting your mindset right, getting your emotional stability in check, and eliminating anxiety, the fear of the unknown. And please remember, don't trust me. Don't trust what people say. Trust a vibe, because people can tell you anything these days. I love you.